Highlands here. Last video, I had just received this guy, the MagBeam Wildlife Kit from MagMod. And while I haven't had a chance to actually do a photo shoot with it, I have had a chance to play with it and test it out, and I've learned a couple of really interesting things. So let's get right into it. First off, what's in this box? Well, let's take a look. When you open this guy up, the first thing that's in the box is this. This is the mag band. This is what goes around the front of your shoe mount style flash. It's got a magnet on either side of it, super powerful magnets. And it's made of silicone and it's really stretchy, fits really tight, which is good because it keeps everything together. This is the main component of the whole MagMod system, is this little guy. And it goes on the front of a flash, kind of like this. This is it on the top of my Godox 8200 that we looked at last time. Stretched around there really tight with the regular Godox Fresnel, the 8200 Pro Fresnel on there. And that's what I used it with. So next in the box, comes with this really nice little pouch, MagMod. Keeps that Fresnel lens that's in there from getting all scratched up. And the other important part of this whole thing is this guy. This is a silicone ring and it's got magnets on it. I don't know if you can see, they're right there and there. And they're going to attach to this guy kind of like this, which is really cool. It's solid, no Velcro needed. Better than all those Velcro things. It's easy, it's solid, but it comes off and goes on real easy. And this thing telescopes, this little silicone guy, and goes out one step, see it there? And then two steps. That's the beauty of this whole thing, is this thing collapses down. It's a little hard to collapse down, I won't do it right now. But then the next thing that's in this box is this. This is the Fresnel lens that it comes with. It's a telephoto Fresnel. You can see it's got kind of a magnifying effect there right now. Whoa, freaky. And this is kind of the heart and soul of the whole MagBeam. This thing mounts in the front of this guy, and let me get it in there for you. There, that guy goes in there on the front of this guy, and this creates like a spotlight that shoots out light in a really tight beam for your shoe mount flash. Like this guy. This is just gonna go right on there. Bada bing, bada boom. There you go. Beautiful kind of light projector. And if you collapse this down, it still works. It just changes the beam pattern. And it's pretty cool. You get 3 different beam patterns, 3 different outputs. There you go. That's position, well, that's the middle position. And collapse it down one more. Say it's a little tough to collapse it down. It takes a couple seconds of work, but there we go. All the way down. And then it just comes off and goes in this cool little pouch that they gave you to keep it from getting scratched up. So that's pretty basic. Let's talk about what a Fresnel is and how it works. So Fresnel was I guess he was an inventor. It's named after Augustin Jean Fresnel, French guy, and he invented the Fresnel lens for lighthouses. Lighthouses wanted to project the light beam from the lighthouse, from the bulb or gas flame in the middle. They wanted to project it way out into the ocean so people could see it from way far away. And to do this, they used really heavy, big glass lenses, almost like, well, kind of like a telescope lens, you know, to project it out there. And they were really big, they were really heavy, they were really expensive to make. So they were trying to find a easier way to make it cheaper, lighter lens to project the light. And Fresnel came up with this thinner lens that collimates light, that arranges it into like these straight beams that go out. And he managed to make it really thin and really light. And back then, they were still made from glass. This was in the early 1800s. But nowadays you can find them in a lot of different things. Now they're not as crisp they don't create as crisp of an image as a glass lens, but they're also way cheaper, they're thinner, they're lighter. Nowadays they're mostly made of plastic. And you can see them, book reading aids for reading small type. You see these little lenses that you put on the page so you can read small type, that's a Fresnel. The lens, the plastic lens that's on the front of your speed light, that's also a Fresnel. And on a speed light, a typical speed light, the head can zoom in and out, and it can go from wide to telephoto just by moving the flash tube back further away from the lens and then moving it closer. Kind of the same way that this guy has 3 positions, with the Fresnel lens close to the flash tube, and then a second position where it's a little further away, and then a third position where it's even further away, creating a more telescopic beam. So closer it is, the wider the beam's gonna be, and then as it moves further away, it's gonna get narrower and narrower, and as it gets narrower, it's gonna get more powerful, and it's gonna shoot out like a spotlight of light out of your flash. So now that we've looked at what that is, let's run over to the D&D studio. I'm gonna take the flash and camera and my trusty light meter here, my old Sekonic 558, and we're gonna figure out what the light output is from all these different modifiers, from the standard AD200 Fresnel, the one that comes with it, this guy, to the bare bulb head with this reflector on it, and then with this guy. And I'm also gonna use the 2-head, the dual bulb head attachment that we looked at last video with the telephoto reflector, and we'll see how that performs. So let's get to it. All right, we're here in the D&D studio. I got my coffee. Got my trusty Sekonic L558 light meter set up. And then at the other end of the room, got a camera, transmitter, and my AD200 Pro. With the basic Fresnel that comes with it, we're gonna shoot that first, see how much light she puts out. So, first things first, let me put my coffee down. We'll take a picture. All right, so I went into the D&D studio to record this stuff, and I used my little GoPro Hero 8 with MagMod and my little Rode microphone for that, and I was gonna do the BTS with that, show you what I was doing, but you can see in this past little video clip, it was really dark, and the audio wasn't all that great. So I'll show you the photos, and then let's just talk about it here. I shot everything on my Sony a7R II at 200 ISO with the Sony 24-70 set at f8. And then I used my light meter to actually figure out how much light was coming out. And this is the first thing I shot with the AD200 Pro standard Fresnel. And that gave me f11, which is a decent amount of light, 25 feet away from the flash to the flash meter, and f11's not bad at ISO 200. That's, you know, a reasonable amount of light from a little flash. And then the next thing I did is I put this guy on there, collapsed it down to its smallest position, and shot with it, and it gave me f14. And you can see the light shape is changing a little bit. There's definitely more of a defined shape to it, a little darker around the edges than with just the Fresnel. And then I opened it up to its medium position like this, and all of a sudden it gave me f20, which is noticeably more light. And then all the way open, all the way out like this, it gave me f22. And in that full telephoto position where it's giving me f22, you can also see that there's a really distinct shape of light. And unfortunately, there's a really bright beam that goes across the middle of it, you can see there. Now, I don't know if that'll show up in regular daylight in a photo or not. Hopefully not, because that's really a little disturbing to see that bright line, but that's just the flash tube. And the further away we get from the light, that's a little close, We're not shooting at f/22, so I think as you get further and further away, that's going to become a lot less noticeable. Have to try it out in real life and see. So after I did that, the next thing I did is I took the Fresnel head off and I put this guy on there, the bare bulb head for the AD200 Pro, and I figured it would give me about the same amount of light as the Fresnel head, and I was right. It gave me f/10 with this guy, f/10 straight. And then the next thing I did is I really wanted to see how this dual flash bracket for the dual bare bulb thing that Godox makes. I wanted to see how that works, and I had really high hopes for it. I thought it would put out a lot of light. You know, if I'm getting f/10 out of this guy, I should be getting, well, probably at least f/18 out of two of them, you'd hope. Anyways, I started off with one flash bulb in it and one flash on the back of it, and it gave me, and this is a huge surprise because it's a telephoto reflector. It's supposed to throw light into a tighter beam, like more light, tighter than this guy. This guy was f/10, single flash tube in the telephoto reflector, f/9. And that was kind of surprising. I don't know why. I think maybe the reflector's not working as well, or it's not optimized for the Godox bare bulb. Who knows? Anyways, then I took it out and I put this second flash bulb in there. So two flash bulbs, two AD200 Pro packs, and expected to get a whole lot of light. I didn't. With two bulbs, I got f/11. So one bulb, f/9, two bulbs, f/11. This little guy with one bulb, f/10. So huge surprise, not sure why. The reflector I'm using is a really cheap Bowens mount telephoto reflector I got. I think I'll have to maybe invest in a nicer one. See how that goes. They're a lot more money. But for now, this guy put out a ton of light, and I'm really happy with it. And MagMod also makes a bunch of other things like this grid that just, like the MagBeam, is magnetic and just snaps on there. And this gel holder. I used these when I was shooting the last pedal shots for the Death Trap pedal for Deity. Used a couple of these with gels to control some of the light. Really cool. Put little spots of light in places, and you can stack these on there. Or you could take this guy, put that on there, have colored spot of light. You do all sorts of things. And this is useful for a lot of other things rather than just focusing your light into a really tight spot to get brighter light further away. It also controls your light a lot. So if you're trying to get light in one little spot, like a spotlight, and you don't want it spilling all over the place, instead of using barn doors or grids, you can use this. Turn the power down to what you need, color it, create some cool colored spots. They also make some really cool gobos for this. So you can focus light in a shape. A gobo is a cutout shape, and it will create that pattern shape that's cut out, and usually in a piece of laser cut metal. It'll create a pattern on whatever you shoot it on, and you can change the size of it, of the pattern, by moving this thing in and out. And they'll also work, I mean, they don't just work on the AD200. This is an old Nikon Speedlight I've got, and you can see right there, it's on there. Gel holder, no problem, fits on there. Put a grid on there. So I tried to put one on my old Metz handle mount flash. Wouldn't fit on this guy. This head is just a little bit too big. But most of your Nikon, Canon, Sony speedlights, if you're using those, should work no problem at all. So that's it really. Little disclaimer, I bought it from B&H. I paid for it. And I love it. I'm always trying new things and trying to find things that work for me, trying to find things that make my job easier, that allow me to be more creative. And if you're interested in this kind of stuff, and also, you know, some how-to stuff, how I use things, how I do things, some behind the scenes on some shoots. If you're interested in that kind of stuff, hit the subscribe button down below. I'm not posting as much as I'd like to right now, but if you subscribe, it should let you know when I do post. So that's it. Have an awesome day, and talk to you later. And one last thing. If there's anything that you want to know, any questions you have, hit me up in the comments down below, or send me a message on Instagram. My Instagram's @IanHighlands. That's also linked down below in the in the notes. Let me know what you want to know. Let me know what you'd like me to talk about, gear, techniques, any of that kind of stuff. I love teaching. I love sharing information. So leave me comments, questions down below, and I'll get back to you. Cheers.